Hey everybody, welcome back to the VMP Performance channel. I'm Justin and I'm here in the shop with my 2012 Shelby GT500. Today I want to talk to you about a really important part of a supercharged car, and that is the belt tensioner. So the belt drives the supercharger, and we know that's what makes the oh so wonderful boost that gives us all this horsepower. The belt has to work really hard, and some of the other components like the belt tensioner are incredibly important to deliver consistent boost all the way through the RPM curve. Because you gotta figure that the supercharger pulley, it's only about this big, and the balancer pulley that drives the belt is this big. So it is incredibly important to have constant, precise tension on the supercharger belt to keep the supercharger making boost. And that is why VMP has a heavy-duty billet aluminum belt tensioner upgrade available for the Shelby GT500. I've got one right here, and as you can see, it's an extremely nice piece. It's billet aluminum all the way through. This thing has a 60-pound spring in it. It is much stiffer than the factory tensioner. And there's also another unique aspect that we felt was really important to include with the heavy-duty tensioner upgrade. That is a lightweight billet aluminum idler pulley. So you may say, why does the weight matter? Well, this tensioner arm has to do a whole lot of work. When you're doing a burnout or you're power shifting gears, it is constantly taking up all these little slack and oscillations in the supercharger belt. And it is incredibly important that it can react fast. When it has a lightweight aluminum idler on the end of it, it can react much quicker than a heavier steel idler like the factory one that we'll pull out of the car and show you. So that's just one of the things that makes VMP's tensioner upgrade different and is incredibly important to the performance of the car. Without talking about this anymore, let's go ahead and get in there and install this upgrade. When I do these types of installations on belt system components like the tensioner, I don't disconnect any lines. I just pull the coolant tank out of the way. This gives me room to get my wrench in there and release the tension on the belt. So I'm going to take my 15mm and undo the factory bolt. Just like that, the factory tensioner comes out. So you can see this factory tensioner has seen better days. It's got 80,000 miles on it. The paint's worn off the idler pulley. The bearing inside is still good though, but from having worked on this car a lot and just as recently as just now released the belt, the tension on this tensioner is not as good as it should be after 80,000 miles. Generally, factory's around 40 pounds. This one feels like it may be a little bit softer. VMP starts out at 60 pounds. Now, there's another important component of our heavy-duty tensioner, and that is that it has more travel than the factory tensioner. So it's able to deal with different belt lengths, different supercharger pulleys, different balancer sizes, much better than this stock piece. So I've got both idler pulleys in front of me here. This is the factory 75. It's a stamped steel pulley. This is the VMP billet 58mm. I do want to tell you one important thing. If you're in a situation where your belt is too long, you can absolutely use a 75 or even a 90mm idler pulley to take up some of the slack in the belt. This, we do have billet aluminum 75s available that are a little bit lighter weight than the steel one if you want to maintain that lightweight benefit. When you go to install your tensioner, you need to make sure that you bolt down the 13mm head M8 bolt. We supply a new bolt to hold the tensioner to the front cover. So the easiest way to work on the belt system on the GT500 is to just kind of let the belt float in place, get the tensioner bolted down. I'm going to use a 15 millimeter to tighten it up. Now it is snug. The factory tensioner has a 3/8 slot. The VMP heavy duty one has a 1/2 inch hex in it. It helps to have a 1/2 inch extension on the end of the ratchet. You can see there's quite a bit more belt tension with the VMP tensioner. All right, we got the tensioner installed on my 2012 Shelby GT500. This tensioner fits 07 to 14 GT500s with the 5.4 liter and the 5.8 liter. It also fits the new 2020 Shelby GT500 with the 5.2 liter Predator. All GT500s can benefit from VMP's heavy duty tensioner, no matter if you are stock or if you are heavily modified like this one with a VMP Gen 3R Supercharger. We've got other upgrades and accessories for the belt system. Make sure you check out the links below. We'll see you next time.